Hey, what's going on, guys? Like Butter here, and today let's talk about 1.5 and survival. Since it's out for PC and Xbox, I've got a good amount of hours under my belt now, and I can give you guys my opinion on what I think of the update so far. Now, obviously, these are like first impressions, so my opinions could change over time. But for the most part, what I've seen is that this patch is very, very solid, both for PC and Xbox. So we'll talk about that, about you PS4 guys in a little bit. So first things first, like the patch launched almost flawlessly. There was a small problem on Xbox where people weren't getting access to survival, where they had to download survival separately, but for the most part there was like no major crashes or like the servers didn't go down or anything like that. And there was more people on when survival launched than there has been in the last 4 months if you look at the Steam charts. So that's really crazy. Like the division's really making a comeback, and the devs are really doing a fantastic job bringing this game back and giving us what we want. So let's talk about survival. So survival, as expected, is absolutely phenomenal. I love it. It's so much fun. It's more fun than it was on the PTS, because I think they use weaker servers on the PTS to save money, and I did notice a lot of frame drops and a lot of lag on the PTS, which I haven't really noticed in the actual patch now. So that's really good. Like, I haven't had any frame drops in survival. Sometimes it gets choppy here and there, but it's not like it was where it would just, drop to 20 to 15 frames. It hasn't done that a single time. Another thing is, one of my huge complaints about survival in the PTS was the fact that solo players could go up against, groups of 2, 3, and 4. That seems to also have been solved with the fact that there's more people playing now, so it tries to match you up with other solo players. So right now, survival is a thing that I go in and I play solo. It's very fun to have other 1v1s against other players, and to have this, free-for-all feeling in a game mode that we've never really had in the Division before. Now, as most of you know, going into the Dark Zone solo is not going to be a good experience. You're going to get ganked by groups, and you're always going to have that uneven factor of more people against you. And in survival, you don't get that feeling. You get the feeling of always having a somewhat fair fight, always have a fighting chance, and always being self-sufficient, which is why I love survival so much. Now, will I play survival with a group? I mean, sometimes, but I feel like playing with a group, you kind of lose that, like, scary, eerie feeling you get when you play survival solo. And when you play survival solo, you have to be a lot more careful, because there's not someone to sit there and infinitely revive you like there is when you play with another player. So I personally think that survival is going to be the most fun to solo players who like to play on their own and like to progress playing solo. And I think survival is probably one of the best ways to progress solo, because as most of you know, how this game works is you can get items if you're playing solo to the tier that you're in, but it's always a little bit slower. And the fact that you can do like a survival match for like about an hour and get 13 sealed caches, I think solo survival is a very, very efficient way to get a lot of good gear. So I absolutely love survival. We've had some really epic moments. Now, I do wish that in the future they would look into adding more people per server, but for the most part, even only 24 people, I've been running into a lot of gunfights, so that was super fun, and I've been enjoying myself quite a bit. I've even found like it to be really fun to go for like high scores as well, which will be like, kill as many NPCs as you can, and then eventually, like extract with as much materials to get as many points as you can. And I really hope in the future they add some sort of leaderboards in where they count your wins and they put you up on a leaderboard, and you get to see like, who's who and who's doing the best and who's leading in wins and points and all that stuff. And it will give the game longevity, kind of like how H1Z1 does, like the ladders, and like it gives you like a ranking system and stuff. I think that would be something that would be really cool if they added in the future for survival. I think Hamish even said on a stream he could see survival being something that they continuously work on and continuously add stuff to. So I really hope they go down that route, because I think survival is a fantastic idea. As far as 1.5 goes, I'm absolutely loving farming the new gear. Like, that's with any patch that comes out. I've been going for all the named items, named weapons, new weapons. And I have a steady build right now. I'm running 3 Predators Mark, 3 Strikers. You're not seeing it in this video because I actually got my final piece after this video. But It's not the build that I want to run, it's just the build that I'm using right now to see how it works, but I want to try so many different builds. I want to do an entire high-end build, I want to do an alpha bridge build, I want to do a sniper build, I want to do a support build. Like, there's so many different things for me to build towards, which I'm really excited for, because those name pieces, those exotic items that were added in 1.5 are very hard to get. Like, you have to grind hours and hours just to get one of those. So there were some people out there that thought that getting gear was a little bit too easy, and if you're going for those named items, trust me, it's not going to be too easy. It's going to take a long time to get those items. So some people have been getting lucky in seal caches, which is awesome. I'm happy for you guys. I haven't been so lucky, although I was very lucky in the PTS, of course, when it doesn't matter, but I haven't gotten like any of the named gear pieces yet. So hopefully in the future I can get a little bit luckier and we can try to get some of those, because I want to work towards that high-end build. Now, the PvP, as far as I saw, the PvP seems pretty good. The problem is, right now, is that PvP added armor penetration, right? Which is good, and I think that should be in the game, and I really think that enemy armor damage is something that is needed in PvP. However, the problem with this is that when the world tier went from world tier 4 to world tier 5, and I'm not sure why this is, it became a lot harder to get to 60% armor mitigation. Now, in 1.4, you could get to 60% pretty easily. I mean, it wasn't easy, but, you know, if you put armor on all your mods and, like, on all the pieces of gear that you could get near 60%. Right now, I have armor on everything, and yeah, some of the armor rolls are a little bit lower, but I'm only at 50% armor mitigation, and I'm assuming that just has something to do with World Tier 5 not scaling properly with the items that got leveled up to 256. Because as far as I'm concerned, when a world tier increases, your armor mitigation should be just as easy to get to that point. So it should be just as easy as it was in 1.4 to get to 60% as it is in 1.5 to get to 60%, because the world tiers scale. So you have to get more armor to hit those mitigation percentages. And what's happening is the NPCs are actually hitting a lot harder, and it's not because the NPCs got buffed. People think it's because the NPCs got buffed. Well, technically from 33 to 34, yes, the NPCs are going to get stronger, but they feel even stronger than that because we can't get to that 60% armor mitigation. Now, I really think in the future, in order to fix this armor on everything, you know, armor in slot thing that's going on right now, where it's 100% necessary to put armor on everything you have, I think the only thing that's going to fix this is if they completely rework armor. I think armor needs to be an armor bar that goes above your health bar that will get shredded before you go through your actual health bar, kind of like in Destiny. I think that's how the armor needs to work in order for it to be balanced enough for people to build something else, because as it stands right now, mitigation is so important that no one is ever going to take anything else besides armor. It's just never going to happen unless you know, give somebody like 50% crit damage or something like that. And then we're back to 1.3 where, you know, the NPCs have to be super tanky because everyone's got such high stats. I think what they need to do is they need to make the transition from armor. It's like one of the only things holding back the diversity of builds in this game is just the armor, because how it stands right now is, since everyone needs to build armor, everyone also needs to build enemy armor damage. It's not like a choice like it was going to be where you had to pick, you know, enemy armor damage or armor. Now it's enemy armor damage and armor. So builds are going to get even more boring in a sense of like specific builds, but like you still have the diversity between gear sets and stuff that makes it interesting. I just wish there was more choices when it came to a specific build that you're making. And like I said, we're not going to see this happen until they make the change to armor, and I just really think that players should have the armor bars over their health just like the NPCs do, and then as you shoot them you lose your armor bars and you regenerate them over time just like you would regenerate health. And I think that would be really good, and it would make armor penetration work a little bit better than it does now, and I hope they make this change. If not, in the next patch, which it probably won't happen, but maybe in the year 2 content, they completely change the way armor works, because eventually, if they're going to keep adding content, we're going to have to keep getting higher and higher world tiers, and if that's the case, our armor is going to go lower and lower if it continues with the scaling. So I think something needs to be done about it, and it needs to be tested to see if that's something that we can do in the future. Once that happens and armor isn't as important as it is now, where it's like 100% necessary to build, I think you guys will start seeing people put other things in that slot, and I hope that's something that gets done in the future. But for now, like the PvP and stuff, like people die super fast because of the enemy armor damage. Right now on my build, I'm running 3 Predators Mark, 3 Strikers. I have Destructive on my Lova. I also have the enemy armor damage that comes on the Lova, and I have enemy armor damage almost in every single slot. And I have like 68% enemy armor damage, which means I'm going to be absolutely melting people. Like if they have 50% armor mitigation, I'm going to be doing like, I think it's what, 30% of 68, which is about 22 and a half, something like that. So I'm going to be basically ignoring 22% of their armor. Something like that. I don't know. That's going to be insane. We'll see how it goes, but I think that's going to be like way too much. People are just going to flop over instantly, and it's going to turn into Call of Duty. But I think that's a little bit better than people never dying at all, which you see sometimes. But like I said, I think for right now, the patch is fantastic. People are going to have a lot of fun getting new items and new gear and farming for, you know, exotics and other stuff. But as far as the PvP goes, I think we really need a Dark Zone patch in the future where they completely rework the way armor works, and we'll just figure out some sort of way to kind of balance all this. Because right now it seems like in PvP, people either die extremely fast or they don't die at all. They don't take damage at all. And I think that's to all the skills, like you got like critical save, on the move. You got like all these like little tiny elements that start adding up over time that you don't really notice, and then all of a sudden you're shooting someone and they're not taking any damage. So like I said, the patch is great. I think you guys are really going to enjoy it. Let me know in the comment section below if you got any of the named items. I'm very curious. I've had a lot of people telling me in the stream last night that they've gotten like Barrett's chest piece, which you can see I'm farming here for, Pharaoh's mask and all that other stuff, which I can't wait to get those. So thanks for watching this video, guys. I'm going to let the rest of this run out. If you want to watch it, feel free to do so. I've been Like Butter, and I will talk to you guys next time. Take care, everybody.
So far, so good. My strike squads are moving in. They'll breach the main hall on your signal.
I'm impressed, Agent. Tricky assignment, but you did what had to be done.
Yeah, you broke their spine, kid. With the leader dead, the rest are gonna scatter.
I don't think we're quite done with them yet, but at least now we can get these JTF folks back.